Roll keeps going. Wednesday 1, Peterborough 0. I know it's late. Busy day yesterday. Missed the game. I was at work grabbing. You've got to, aren't you, in this day and age? Money's tight. But then, in the evening, my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, kiddo. We all went out for something to eat. So I woke up this morning after me chocolate fudge cake and a bit of a coma. Anyway, also my legs hurting. Because when I drove us there, because I was driving, I got in the car. What I'd forgot is OWLS had been out early in the day. She had seat right for it. So I got in, put my arse down, swung my legs in, nearly took both my kneecaps off on the dashboard, honestly. Anyway, football. Wednesday against Peterborough. Not a bad side, them, actually. And obviously in Johnson Clark Harris, they've got a kid who's got 18 goals in, 32 games, something like that. Somebody to keep an eye on. And it was never going to be an easy task. But as it is, Wednesday have shown it last few weeks, they can play whichever way. They can play nice football, but when it comes to it, they can get down muck and nettles and get a result that way. Anyway, let's have a quick look at teams. Wednesday unchanged, Dawson in goal, back three, Iofa, Flint, Famayo, midfield, Palmer, Byers, Volks, Bannon and Brown, Smith and Windass up top. Peterborough 4-2-3-1, Norris in goal, back forward of Thompson, Kent, Edwards and Ogbeta, Norburn and Taylor in the midfield holding positions, and Poku, Burrows and Mason Clark supporting Johnson Clark Harris at centre forward. They like a double battle, don't they? I saw a tweet last night. I got in, I'm in bed, and it was a Peterborough journalist, a proper trained journalist and everything, saying Peterborough were better side yesterday. So, oh God, that'll be interesting. And I watched it back, and I think it's that rose-tinted things. I sometimes think I'm a bit rose-tinted with Wednesday, but I like to think if we play shit, like we played shit against Barnsley earlier in the season, I'll say, oh no, we were shit, we deserve to lose. But no. Positive start from Wednesday. Great chance after just a couple of minutes. Liam Palmer, defence splitting pass between full-back and left-sided centre half. Smith does well, gets in, cuts it back to Windass, and he gets shot away, and their lad Edwards, he makes a really good block. Minute later, Barry Bannon, sort of just outside left-back position, raking diagonal ball, 60 yards across pitch. Windass looks like he's in, and their kid comes out, Norris, and he catches it right in the corner of his 18-yard box. Did really well, actually, very smart off his line there. Not so good on crosses, but first 2 or 3 minutes, really positive start from Wednesday. Their first sort of chance, and really an half chance, Thompson, the right back, he's got forward, he's hit a 25-yarder, which probably goes about 25 yards of a bar. But they started growing into the game, it was a bit open-ended at the beginning. Wednesday on top, getting forward better, bit of a mix, but then they started getting a little bit of a grip at possession at ball. And they were a nice football side, to be honest, but, and we talked about this with Wednesday last season, you can have what ball you want in your own half. They played some nice stuff, but it were mainly in their last third, which don't really cause you any problems, does it? 26 minutes, lovely little ball around corner outside at boot from Byers, puts Windass in. Don't come to it, we get a corner from it, but it's a really clever corner. Barry Bannon goes to take it in front of Cop. And all our centre halves, up big lads, Flint, Iofa, they're all up there and it's sort of huddled. And as soon as Baz is coming up to take ball, they all go charging into the 6-yard box. Takes everybody away. Windass comes with the way. He comes out, and when Bannon puts it in, it's a really low pass. Windass wraps his foot round it, smashes underside at bar. It absolutely took paint off it. I mean, it would have been a fantastic goal, brilliant set piece that they've obviously practised on training ground. As I said, Peterborough having plenty at ball, but really, it's in their third and middle third. It's frustrating to Wednesday, I think, because we're so used to dominating possession at home that when a team comes and they try and keep possession of ball, it's a bit like, oh, we're not used to this. I mean, even when we play away, it's usually us with lion's share. They're having plenty at ball, which obviously frustrating for Wednesday, who's a ball-playing side. And I don't know what it is with linesmen in this division, but suddenly flags going up for every forward pass, and then there's a blatant foul on Smith. I mean, it's absolutely blatant. It's nailed on. Ref don't do it. don't give it. And then Byers comes towards their lad, don't even scuff his shin pad. Their kid goes down, it's a free kick. They're lucky to get it. It's a play on in my book, but they're lucky to get it. But after what's just happened to Smith, Byers is like, what the he starts going off on one, and then he has a 10-minute spell then where you're thinking, especially with officials in this division, they're itching to get cards out. He's going to give him a decision to make, and he needs calming down in that situation. Then there's one, Flint trips their lad, number 16, I think his name, is it Burrows, something like that. Barely touches him, but he's over like Tom Daly, and again, Byers is in there, didn't referee his face, and you just like, keep a lid on it. Because some players, you have to have that little bit of bite in the game, else you lose what they are as a player. You know, you can't imagine a Roy Keane, for example, or even a John Sheridan, if they didn't have that little bit of a sting in the game, are they that player anymore? But you can't be walking that fine line. It really is a sort of fractious 2 or 3 minutes in there. There's a Wednesday get a free kick in just inside right back position, sort of in front of Iofa in there. Their player's just been a knob, you know, so he sort of barges Iofa, and Iofa shoves him away. Then again, Byers comes and gets involved, and their lad, he chucks one of them into his chest, then he shoves him away, and he's trying to get him booked. He's trying to rile him, he's doing all this stuff, referee's not looking, and of course, that's the thing, innit? As soon as they do look, it's when you retaliate and you're... 2 minutes after that, it's down on his touchline. This time Byers is very lucky because there's been a throw-in, something like that. The ball breaks and Byers just grabs their lad, round corner of his shirt, round neck, and just sort of throws him backwards. No need for it, and he's in that red mist at that stage, and somebody really needs to get hold of him and pull him away and, you know, knob off. This is an interesting thing though. We talked last season on Wednesday, put in some lacklustre performances, and when we were knocking ball around back forward a lot and it was very slow tempo and this and that other. One of the things we were saying is, can Darren motivate players? Can he get into them? I mean, we don't know, we're not privy to what happens in the dressing room, but he's a pretty calm, placid bloke in there when you see him out and about. In this instance, I think that works. You know, we talk about managers giving players a bollocking at half time. Sometimes you need someone who's going to get in there and say, right lads, let's just calm it down. And clearly Byers needed that because he was really at risk. I genuinely think again a red card, 2 yellows and a red, or even a straight. So gone in at half time, and it's just calmed things down a bit into that second half, and it needed it. Like I said, they're a decent football side. They've kept the ball a lot, and the half-time stats showed that they'd had, I think, 55% possession or whatever, which for an away team's really good, actually. But as I said, it's in their half, and it's in middle third, and they're not particularly going anywhere with it. When they did attack, they got the Poku on one side, was a useful play, quite lively. They got Mason down the left-hand side, who was a bit of a prat. And I can well understand why lads wanted to stick one on him, but you can't get involved in that. But they got a lad, Ogbetter, at left back. I really like the look of him first half, and I'm only surprised. There were causing 1 or 2 little issues down that side. Dom Iofa was standing up to it, and Liam Palmer, but 1 or 2 little issues. I'm surprised they didn't get him forward more, that left back, because I thought he'd got something about him, and if they'd started doubling up down there, maybe their possession might have come to something. As it is, second half, bizarrely, he don't get forward at all. It's almost like they've said, right, stay back, which I can't fathom that at all. 48 minutes, a portent of what was to come. Brown down the left-hand side, little 1-2 with Bannon, gets in, drills across into the box, and Noddis gets down and pulls it into his chest. It was almost identical to the goal that we end up scoring probably 5-6 minutes later, and it's that exact same thing. Brown's got the ball, turns around, knocks it to Bannon, then gets on his bike, he's gone for return. Bannon, lovely little weighted pass through gap. Brown drills it, beats Noddis on near post. Does it get a bit of a touch off for their defender? Possibly, but I weren't convinced about their keeper taking stuff from wide positions anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, Jayden Brown can have that as a goal. They say games are won and lost in midfield, and that was the key today. Like I said, they had a lot of the ball, especially for an away side. But I never felt that Wednesday weren't in control of the game, if you know what I mean. And we were in control of the game because of the midfield players we got. Now, George, I think, had a bit of an off day, but Will Volks in there was absolutely superb today. He's definitely my man of the match. There's been good performances there. I thought Flint was fantastic. Iofa was really good. Palmer at his usual levels. But Will Volks over 90 minutes was magnificent. He was all over. I mean, alright, he's in there primarily to sit in front of back three and just, win it and give it. It's the simplest instruction in the world. It's amazing how many players can't do it though. And that's what he did today for 90 minutes. Won the ball, knocked a quick, simple pass out. Won the ball, knocked a quick pass out. And the way he was getting across and covering, so when Palmer went across, if they got a quick break, Volks was over into that right back slot to sweep up. Same at the other side, Brown got forward, if move broke down, Volks again is across in there. And when it was getting very fractious at the end of that first half, and even little moments in second half, he can wind some players up, when tackles are going in hard, when referees are missing things and bloody linesmen are making things up as they go along. Some players, the frustration. Whereas Will Volks in there, because that's his job, because that's his game, tackle, bustling. He's like, sound, yeah, great, I'll have a bit of this. I love this sort of game. And he was magnificent for 90 minutes today. And really, he was the fulcrum for me that held that performance together, because it's a tight game, 1-0. But even at 0-0, he was giving Wednesday that base for the defensive work they did and the attacking work they did. He's had a fantastic game. And so has, I would say in the second half, Barry Bannan. Barry Bannan first half, I thought he was very much, not as far as Byers, but I thought the mist were coming down on Barry a little bit as well. He was doing the Scottish angry man bit. Took a booking late in first half. And he was starting to do that thing of charging about. Like I said, this is where Volks is different. Somebody will give Volks a clatter and he's like, right, playing that game away. Byers and Bannon get a little clatter and you can almost see eyes, incredible old, and they go scampering on after him and give him a boot up in air, which is exactly what they want. I mean, their lad at one bit, he boots George. George turns around and shoves him. Free kick. And you can see their lad, he's running off, fist pumping. Yes, I've done it. It's been a shithouse. And you can't rise to that bait. Flint has a chance. Barry Bannon, second half. First half, I didn't think he were particularly at it. I think he were getting distracted, like a few of them were. Second half, imperious play. His ball playing. There's a bit, he juggles ball, he flicks it over his own head. He turns and he just pings a 45-yard pass out to Windasser on the side. It's just the range of passing that he's got. He's had a magnificent second half performance, and he would have been in a shout for me man of the match if it weren't for the fact that Volks was superb over the 90. But he gets the ball in an inside left position, which I'll come to talk about in a minute. Jinks a couple of times past their man, who's just like, where am I going to go here? Flips the ball into the back stick. Flint gets up, heads it down. It's their keeper on shins. He's got no idea what's happening there. Very lucky. Like I said, Bannon, he's just spraying the passes about. He sprays another one over to Windass. Noddis comes airing out of his goal, and again tries to clear it, completely miskicks it, spins over his shoulder. Very lucky boy in net there. But it's from Bannon. As Wednesday grow, Bannon's growing, and the two things sort of work together. He's sprint ball all over the place. And I think he's playing best football of his career. He's in probably twilight of his career. But the way that Darren Moores got him playing and the position he's got him playing in, I think it's best football he's played. In that second half, just Barry Bannon, his passing and his use of the ball, he was imperious. And 2 or 3 years ago, we're looking at Barry Bannon and people are saying, well, should he be in team? Genuinely, people were saying that. But But that was a case of the players around him weren't as good as him. They weren't on the same wavelength as him. And it just reminds me of that when Ian Rush left Liverpool and he went to Newcastle and Leeds, and I think he ended up down there for a spell. Not on the same wavelength as those players, or more to the point, they weren't on the same wavelength as him. One of the best finishers country's ever seen. Suddenly, it all dries up for him. And that what how Bannon were looking, I thought, a couple of years ago. But Darren Moores got him in a system, in a position that gets the best out of him. With Volk sat behind him doing that sweeping up job, who was magnificent today. Byers alongside him, they're all on the same wavelength. And at the beginning of the season, I don't know if you remember, we played Bannon in a much higher role. He were playing in a sort of number 10 position behind the strikers. Now when you look at his skill set, you would say, well, perfect for that role. But I don't think it quite worked out for him. A lot of time went back to goal. Whereas in this slightly deeper role, not sat, but just that bit deeper, attacking midfield, it's all there in front of him. So he's got that range, he's got that opportunity to get forward and sprays passes about, and it's all wide open. He's got the options in there. And of course the vital thing is, it means he can get forward and support the attack, rather than being up there and waiting for it to come to him, which sometimes happened. Now it's a completely different game, isn't it, when you already stood up there with a marker at side, have you? Alright, Paul, like that. Than when you're coming and joining him from deep and you're running at him. That gives them a completely different prospect. You know, when somebody stood at side, it's easier for them to grab hold of you and get a fistful of shirt, whatever. When you're a defender and someone's coming at you from deep, 20 yards off and running at you with ball, it puts you in that, what am I going to do? Do I go and try and close down? If I do, when they go around me, I'm took out of the game. Do I stay and try and hold my ground? And that's when you get that thing where defenders end up just backing off and backing off. And that happens time and again with Barry Bannon. And some of the passing we've seen, probably this week and last week, especially in that sort of inside left position, he's been cutting teams apart with the passing and the vision that he's got. And that's credit to Darren Moore. That subtle shift, moving him back from that advanced position, just dropped off a bit into that inside left, and we're really, really seeing the best of him now. And especially with the teammates he's got around him who are on that same wavelength as him. "68 minutes, potential flashpoint. Their lad breaks with ball. Jaden Brown again, you know. I don't think he's best footballer in the world, and I think when Marvin Johnson's not there, you start to realise even more how harsh some of the criticism of Marvin Johnson is. But sometimes it takes him to be away for people to twig that. But Brown does really well. Their lad's breaking. He comes back. It's an absolute blockbuster tackle. Comes in, absolutely, gets ball, but absolutely creams their lad Johnson. He's had a rough afternoon, by the way. Absolutely creams him. Great tackle. But it's a bit of a flashpoint. And there's one or two in there, and again, Byers comes flying in and he's starting to... By this stage, Lee Gregory's on. Wise old head. Gets in there, more or less bear hugs Byers and just, oink, out we go. Just drags him out of the way. That's what a proper experienced player will do to help a teammate out. I wish Vim Young could grab hold of the canio like that and oinked him 20 yards away from bloody referee. Do you know what I mean? We might not lost £3.5 million worth of talent out, shitter. Let it go. It's 30 years ago. 80 minutes, really good chance. Hunt's come on the right hand side. He flips a really good ball in, actually, and Gregory shows his intelligence there. He's come on for Smith, who, apart from a couple of moments, I thought had a quiet game. And it's that intelligence. Ball's coming in. Gregory just slips right in front of it, man. Gets a little side foot shot on it. Does really well. It's a good connection. But it's just a very tight angle. You know, if they're 5 yards deeper, that's a goal. But it's right up on the near post. Just really good connection. Good cross from Hunt, but probably just not best position, but did well to get a shot away. And he's just got that little bit of intelligence, as well as dragging George away, and then, oh God, he gets booked at end. Gregory, it's an absolutely farcical one. Don't even touch him, but we're used to that by now. Yeah, I thought Peterborough had a good side. I thought they played some decent football without particularly breaking us down. They were comfortable on ball at back in that Poku, and Mason Clark on that one side. I thought we've got a couple of lively players there. Like I said, I'm surprised left back would have to sit deep second half. He was useful. I think what did surprise me is Clark Harris, because for someone who's got so many goals, he played so deep today. I mean, obviously, you want to drop in and link and you want to feel involved in game when ball's not getting up to you and you go looking football. But I think part of the reason that he went looking football is because anything that came through, Aidan Flint, absolutely magnificent in there, and he is a big unit, Johnson Clark Harris, but Flint ate him for breakfast. Big dominant side of him as well, no quota given there. And those two, the way they defended, I think that's why he went looking football, because anything that came in, not for him there, not to take. So he starts dropping deeper and deeper, and like I said, for all the football he had, it was all possession in their half and middle third really. It's another clean sheet for Wednesday. Second half I thought we dominated the game, and we roll on, despite what that Peterborough journalist says. I don't know what he was watching me. Okay, that's Wednesday, but let's have a quick look how everything else got on. Okay, so Barnsley were in the 6th position, got the results they've had, but a 0-0 today away at Bristol Rovers. Derby County, 2-0 lead against Shrewsbury down there. Roberts and McGoldrick give them the lead. Bayliss and LaHaye pulled it back for Shrewsbury, done us a real favour there because they were catching up there, Derby, with the teams in top 3 or 4. Ipswich Town 4-0 against Burton Albion. Chaplin with a double and Broadhead, Ladapo. Game over by half time by the looks of it. Chaplin, Broadhead, Ladapo. That's 4 championship strikers there, by the way. They might really start to have an effect, and they're starting to chip away, funnily enough, at our goal difference. Fortunately, we've got an 8-point lead, but they are chipping away. I think Plymouth might have one eye over its shoulder. Speaking of Plymouth Argyle 2, Charlton Athletic 0, Hardy and Ennis 66 and 87. Wednesday, of course, 1-0 winners against Peterborough. I'm giving that goal to Brown, don't care what anybody says. And Bolton Wanderers, who'd had that terrific surge up table, they were held 0-0 against Morecambe. You know, there's not a week goes past when I see Plymouth results coming in, and it doesn't seem more and more like complete lunacy with every passing week that Schumacher decided not to pick Cosgrove and Hardy when they played against Wednesday. It seems more and more outlandish every time you think back to it. But huge favour to us, we got that result, and it seems to have put momentum in our favour. Right, let's have a quick look at the table. So Wednesday, still top of the table, 74 points against Plymouth 71. And of course Wednesday with that game in hand. Wednesday also there with a plus 14 goal difference. Ipswich, their 4-0 win, leapfrogs them above Bolton, who were 0-0 at Morecambe, they're 66 points. And Derby held against Shrewsbury, and Barnsley also drawing 0-0 down there in 5th and 6th. Was it 13 games to go, but Wednesday still in pole position, and dare I say it, it's ours to lose.